Bonjour, bon après-midi, or bonsoir, depending on what time of day it is when you're watching this video. Hello, my name is Patrick Fager, and I am here today to shed a little more light on something that's going on in the world, something that you may have heard of or even seen in the last week. There's this little sporting event called the Olympics going on in Paris, France right now. We're just about a week into the games. They started last Friday with the opening ceremony. And what I would love to do, because I am a Francophile, so I love French culture, language, food, all things France and French. And I would like to give you a little bit more information about some of the places and landmarks that you may be seeing as you are watching the games. Throughout the video, I will be giving you some little pronunciation guides, just because there's some tricky pronunciations with French sometimes. Realize that those aren't anything except for my interpretation of what they should sound like. So it's not an official pronunciation guide by any means. It's just how I'm trying to help you understand the pronunciation. So let's jump into this. The Olympic Games going on right now, Paris, France. First of all, France, you have probably heard it or would hear it referred to in France as France. There's no R in French, right? So in France, at Paris, Paris, France. Let's talk about the biggest landmark that you associate with France and Paris. Very first off, the Eiffel Tower. All right, the Eiffel Tower, also known to the French as the Tour Eiffel, is probably the quintessential landmark of Paris, definitely. France, yes, and maybe even for some people, Europe. It's a big deal, right? We've all seen pictures of it. We've all seen videos of the Eiffel Tower. This thing, if you've ever been to France, is massive. It's bigger than you can probably picture in your mind. It was for me. Over 1,000 feet tall. So we're talking about like the Gateway Arch in St. Louis is only about 630 feet tall. So this thing is way above that. Massive structure, built, has been around since the late 1880s. It was built for the 1889 World's Fair there in Paris, designed by Gustave Eiffel, from which we get the name. And if you've been watching the Olympic coverage, you have probably seen it during the opening ceremony. So far in the coverage, as the athletes got to their point where they disembarked from the boats in the river, and the ceremony continued there with this amazing laser lights show. So please take a look at that if you didn't watch it live. Take a look at a replay. Look that up on YouTube. The light show, the stuff that they did with the tower was amazing. Celine Dion sang a beautiful, beautiful song. That's one place that you've definitely seen it in the Olympics coverage. So far, the other thing and the other event that it may be showing up a lot associated with is beach volleyball. Right now, the stadium or stade that is set up for beach volleyball is right there next to the Eiffel Tower. So probably if you've seen any beach volleyball, you've seen it in the background of those matches. So those are a couple of places that you've seen it. Honestly, if you see any wide shot of the city of Paris, is probably going to be poking its head above the horizon there. It's easy to see from lots of different places. So the Eiffel Tower is situated there on the bank of the Seine River. There are lots of areas in Paris with landmarks that are set up very close to each other that some people don't realize is the case. So I want you to take a look at this visual. Thank you, Google Earth, for this one, by the way. If you take a look at the screen, and you'll see on the right-hand side of the screen, one end, you'll see toward the left-hand side, the Eiffel Tower and the Seine River. This is one of the areas that I want to talk about with a couple other things that are there besides just the tower. So take a look all the way toward the right-hand side of that picture, and you'll see something labeled as the École Militaire. This translates in English to the military school. It was the headquarters of the French military for a long time during Napoleon's reign and many years surrounding that time. So that is at one end, kind of the opposite end, and you'll see that on the right-hand side in the picture. In between that and the Eiffel Tower, you'll see a large lawn, basically, is what it looks like now, park-type area. That is known as the Champ de Mars. And now, the Champ de Mars is basically just that. It's a place to relax. It's kind of a park. You can bring your blanket and your picnic and just lay out for the day, read a book, whatever. It's a very relaxing place now. However, back then, in the older days, it was used for marching practice and drill practice and things like that for the French military. So you've got the École Militaire on the right-hand side of the image. Right? Then we have the Champ de Mars. That's where the stadium, the beach volleyball stadium, is set up. So that's where they're playing, and that's why you can see it so closely next to the Eiffel Tower. Then we have the Seine River right there, and just on the other side of the Seine River, you have what's called the Trocadero. And this is an area of gardens and fountains there just across the river. It makes a beautiful scene with the Eiffel Tower and the rest of the stuff that is around it. Where might you have seen that in the Olympic coverage so far? The opening ceremony was a big part, again, when the athletes disembarked the river, when they brought all of the flags in. They had the raising of the flag and the Olympic hymn, the anthem and the speeches, and all of that kind of stuff took place there in the Trocadero area. There's also a big museum right behind that called the Palais de Chaillot, which houses some museums of different perspectives, right, from different areas. So all of that's, most of the fountains and things are covered up right now because of the need for stage and stands, but that's another part of that kind of close area into the Eiffel Tower. So that's the abbreviated story. This is not a comprehensive series of videos by any means. That would take much more time than I have, and probably than you have, honestly. But that's kind of the abbreviated story of the Eiffel Tower and the Olympics and what's there and what you might have seen. So go out, make sure you take a look at it. If you haven't seen the opening ceremony, I highly recommend it. It's like nothing you've ever seen. Don't be bothered by all of the controversy surrounding it. It's amazing. We're going to be talking about that a little bit more in one of the future videos. So get out there, watch the Olympics. You've still got about a week, a little over a week, to watch them, and join me back here next time for a look at some of the other landmarks that you've probably heard of and probably seen and maybe haven't even realized it during the Olympic coverage from Paris, France in 2024. Thanks. Bye-bye. Au revoir.